I'm coming to you.
Okay, so this is a really fun trick, okay? So what you do is you take your brush and you go above your cheekbone. So the fleshy part of your cheek, you're going above it. That's usually like where you typically highlight in the area. Well, if you roll it, you'll feel your brush lift. You feel it lift on the fleshy part of your cheek, okay? You roll it again, and when you feel it dip, like I just felt it dip when I pressed, that is where you want to contour. It's right underneath your cheekbone. And I am a really big advocate, not so much, and every makeup artist is different, so not everyone would agree with me. But I like exploring my clients' bone structure over their face shape. The reason being is that you and I may both have the same face shape, but my cheekbone may be in a completely different place. Okay, so I like to identify my customer or my client's bone structure before I do any kind of blush, contouring, highlighting, anything like that. I'm also gonna get on my soapbox and let you know that this is a very delicate area in makeup artistry, only because the purpose of contouring is to minimize something. Okay, it's using color to minimize something that maybe you don't particularly like about what's on your face. So for me, I contour the heck out of my cheekbone because I want to look skinny. Okay, flat out, I want to look smaller in my face. Okay, so so I like to contour in that area. Now, if you are working with someone and you're like, girl, I need to contour your forehead. Oh, that's really bad. And you know what? They may have never even thought about that. And now you just gave them a complex, and they're gonna go home and cry about it. I would, I'm really sensitive.
Don't give them an insecurity they didn't know they had.
Exactly. This is the part where you say, what do you love the most about your face? I love my eyes. Okay, let's bring attention there, okay? So sometimes what I say to my clients is this is the contouring portion of the makeup. These are the places I typically can contour. Forehead, nose, cheek, chin, et cetera, okay? Go through it. And I say, first of all, do you want me to contour? Just because Instagram does it doesn't mean you have to, okay? Just a little pep talk there. But most people do want it because it's the thing. And so they say yes, and they say, okay, here's where I typically can contour. What would you like me to do for you? Let it be their decision rather than you just assuming, because you can really hurt somebody's feelings. Okay, so that's why I say it's a delicate situation. It's just about the way you word it. And this is also, it's very important to me that when I'm working with a client, I always find something to compliment them on. Whether it's something about their face, their hair, their outfit, I always want them to leave feeling really confident and really good about themselves. Okay, so really be delicate with your words. Okay? Okay. Because you could get a sensitive Sally like me that would cry. Like right there, then and there. Okay. So is everyone comfortable with this technique? Okay, good. So now what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna bring my model up. If she can sit in the chair, we're gonna move the camera and I'm gonna do a demonstration on her for the camera. You guys can come up and watch me if you would like, but remember, we are also walking the room, so you are gonna get us. This is just for the camera, but you're welcome to come up. We will be hands-on after this segment, okay? Cool.
Yay!
Okay.
I'll move it when you're all settled, so I want to make sure it's space enough for you to move.
Perfect. All right, so most of you know my favorite thing to contour with is what?
Cinnamon.
Okay. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. It's just for a beginner, it's really, really easy to manipulate. Okay? Because it's a foundation, it sits really nicely and is really easily blended on top of the foundation that you're using. So if cinnamon's not your color, maybe try something different. But it is really an easy application. It really, truly is. Other things that you can use for contouring is also our SeneGence. Kelsey actually really loves to use our SeneGence mixed with matte gloss. Again, if you're using matte gloss, make sure to exfoliate later, but it makes the application of the shadow sense much more simple. I will say that trying to blend shadow sense as a contour is more difficult than using the foundation, okay? Doesn't mean you can't do it, just practice and you'll get there. Other things that we like to use is deep concealer. Kelsey loves to do bronzing. So taking our bronze dust and just kind of bronzing in the areas. It's not as, so Kelsey is actually bronzed today and I am contoured. You can tell the definitive difference, whereas hers is warm and mine's pretty cut, right? So that's kind of the difference. You're warming the skin, you're contouring the areas, but much lighter, okay? Rather than the real cut contouring lines, okay? Remember that when you're using our products, they are highly pigmented and a dab will do ya. I learned the real hard way with bronze. Blush sense. I was all, oh, it was really, really bad. Okay, so this is what's gonna help as well. And I thought I brought my palette, but I can't find it, so I'm gonna use your hand. Cool. Okay, so whatever you're going to use, okay? And this actually goes for me personally, for blush and for contour too. I'm sure that, oh, I use your hand, thank you. Kelsey and Heather have different ways of doing it, but for me, getting the most even is you'll want to take your brush, whatever you use. My absolute favorite for our products is the Stippling Real Techniques brush. It's like $9.99 on Amazon. I have 500 of these. I love them, okay? And what you want to do is you want to take it and you dip it into the whatever you're using, okay, foundation, the shadow sense, deep concealer, whatever you're using. And then what you wanna do is you wanna disperse the color evenly on the entire brush, okay? Making it dispersed evenly, okay? So I'm dispersing it on the brush evenly, okay? Doing that, now that I'm gonna go onto her face, it's going to apply evenly. Okay, so I'm gonna find her cheekbone. So I'm here above her cheekbone. I roll, okay, I feel it come up. And then I'm gonna press, oh, there it is. See how I'm dipping and I'm pressing? I can actually press. I can't really press up here. That's the cheekbone, you can't press in. I can press in here, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my brush and I'm going to go right underneath that cheekbone. Okay, and I do this stippling motion because I'm layering and I want it to be more pigmented, and sometimes if you brush it on, you can take what was underneath it away. So you can take your foundation or your concealers or anything that you had on underneath away from it. So stippling it is layering it, making it more pigmented. Again, contouring is very striking. You want it to be kind of more noticeable. You want that shadow, right? So I'm making it a little darker, and I personally like to keep it up and high. Reason being, if you come too low, you start looking like a little basset hound. You start to look droopy with little jowls, okay? And I don't, yeah, like I don't think I want to accentuate any kind of basset hound features that I have. Okay, so I like to keep it high, and I'm actually kind of pressing into the cheekbone. And if you're even super lazy like me, okay, I even kind of come up on the cheek just a tad, because then it kind of looks like I have blush too, a little bit. But you just come right underneath. Now remember, when you're contouring, you're wanting to make something look smaller. So if you look straight into the camera, okay, I've cut this side. So this side, can you see the shadow here? How it's cut versus on that side. Yeah. Okay, and you guys can take a look at her because I'm gonna make her do the other side. But no pressure. Yeah. Yeah. And what, yeah.
I've done this live video before.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, and then what you can do if you feel like it's too dark, you can always take your foundation brush and whatever is whatever's left on the brush, you just kind of go over the lines softening it. So it's not such a harsh line. You're softening those lines. Again, when you're talking about contouring, you're using color to make something look smaller. So I'm just gonna go through, you don't need contouring at all, you're beautiful, so I'm not trying to tell you anything.
I
Okay?
also want to look skinnier though.
I mean, let's be real. Okay, so with contouring, so if we're gonna contour the forehead, essentially what we wanna do is we wanna bring this down, right? So most of the color is gonna be from the top down and we're gonna blend it down, okay? And we're gonna make a shadow, blending it down so that it's giving the illusion that it's bringing the forehead down, right? Okay, so that's the purpose of it. Dark, blend down. But remember, our products are very pigmented, so a dab will do you. Disperse it evenly on your brush, and even if you don't want it super dark, whatever was left on your brush from the contour on the cheek, you can always just use on the top, and then add a little bit here and there. Okay, it's a lot easier to add than it is to take away with our products. Even though you can take away from our products, there's ways to do it. I like the easy way out. Okay, so I like to add a little bit until I get the desired look, okay? Now, I want you to be careful when you are talking about the chin area, okay? There are some people that their necks naturally sit forward, okay? We're talking about bone structure again, okay? I actually have a friend, her neck sits a little forward, so it brings the bottom part out a little bit more. If I were to just put color on there, it would accentuate it because it would just look like it's colored. It's not gonna look like a shadow. It's gonna look like I'm like putting a neon sign on it, okay? So instead of putting any color there, I'm gonna draw the eyes up, maybe accentuating more on the eye and bringing things upward rather than all the attention here. Whereas me, I have a non-natural double chin that I have created all on my own. I grew it myself, and it was a lot of wine and pizza, and I'm proud of it. Okay, so I can do the shadow underneath, and you want to be careful. Oh, sorry. You want to be careful though, because you don't want a real harsh line on the jawline, because then you're gonna look dirty. Okay, I'm sorry. It is what it's true. Okay, so I like to come down just below the jawline, the neckline, and I brush down with the color all the way down, because you want to make sure that you're kind of just giving you that shadow, hiding this area. Okay, so you want to blend it down. And a lot of times I don't use a lot of color down here. I use what's left over on my brush just to give me that light shadowing kind of effect. Okay, if you want more, again, you just add a little more and get the desired look. Okay, but again, know your structure. Okay, the other thing is the nose. Okay, so I had a girl who, she was like, my nose just, I feel like it's too long for me and it really bothers me, but every time I try to contour it, it just looks longer. And I'm like, how are you contouring it? Well, she was contouring it on the sides, okay? You know how you typically always want to do that? That elongates your nose because you're hiding the sides and highlighting the front. So it's actually creating a longer nose because you're putting more attention on the highlighted area on the top and hiding what's on the side. So it's making your nose look longer. So remember, when you're working with contour, dark diminishes. Put the dark where you'd want to diminish it. Shadow where you'd want it to be smaller. It's kind of like a little rule of thumb that's helped me. Like, what would I want to kind of minimize? I'm a visual learner. I thought maybe they would be too. Okay. And play around, have some fun with it. If you don't want to do cinnamon, again, there's all kinds of colors and different things that you can use for contouring. Just because that's my go-to doesn't mean it has to be yours. Try some things, have some fun with it. And that is all. Yay.